Hey everyone, this is Carmen Radford with Calm and Chaos.
All right, we are here with Florence, our special guest, and she runs a forest school among many other endeavors. Welcome, Florence. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I first met you coming to your forest school with my daughter, which we loved. Just for context, can you tell us a little bit about, you do the forest school for children, but we've just started talking about that you actually have so many other facets in your career. So can you tell us a little overview of maybe where you started, a bit of the journey, and where you are today?
Okay, so I used to be a primary school teacher, and I was the science lead at my school, and so I decided to qualify as a forest school leader, which was a great, exciting new project, and was completely supported by my head teacher and senior leadership. So I was very, very lucky. And then as part of that training, I had to do some baseline unit of work with the children that I had currently in my class. And we started doing forest school on a weekly basis. And within one session, I just saw the most amazing thing happen to these children. They had been in my class for like 2 terms by then, so it was the final term, and I felt like within 2 hours I got to know them better than within 2 terms in the walls of my classroom.
That's amazing.
It was just so magical, and the beauty of it was that without the limitation of the 4 walls, with the space for them to regulate themselves,
Right.
I just saw the children who were really struggling in the classroom finding that little spark again with school, and growing in confidence even within that first session.
So amazing.
I was so emotional about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, this is it. I could feel it.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. After a whole term of it, I felt so aligned with forest school, and I did struggle a little bit with the education system as it is. I felt that there was more to education for children than just maths, English and science.
Making it more holistic.
Absolutely, exactly. And these are my memories of primary school.
Yeah.
They're not memories of maths and, for me, French.
Yeah.
They are memories of discovering the world. And I felt like forest school was a medium, if you want, for me to do that, to provide that for the children.
Amazing.
So with a very, very heavy heart, because it was hard to leave teaching, I decided that was the right thing for me to do. And I left teaching and I opened my own little forest school.
That's so brave, but it feels like you felt really centered in it, and I feel like when you get that spark of something, you just feel like I have to run with it.
Know.
Yeah.
You know, it's scary.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky that my partner was supportive.
Yeah.
And said to me, okay, it's going to be tough, but we'll manage. This is what you want to do.
It's worth it.
So I was very lucky, and still very grateful for that. So I opened a little forest school and little session, you know, starting to get my name out there, trying to get some sort of reputation locally.
That takes time.
Yeah, it really does. It's not easy. Absolutely. You know, I don't want people to think it was like a plain journey. It was like, okay, just
and
keep going.
I don't know if you found this, but like when I was like for teaching piano, for example, so much is word of mouth, because you want to know that the teacher is awesome. You want to hear from someone, like I've actually met them, I know this person, right? Because when it's your kids, and word of mouth, it's slow, and then it snowballs, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you've got to trust that process. And then I think it was just starting the words of mouth was going around, and then lockdown happened.
Right.
So I had to shut down for 5 months. It was really hard. I mean, the good side is I was a primary teacher, so I could home ed my kids.
Yeah.
Although they didn't really want to hear about it, to be honest. But hey, that's another
when you're
conversation.
the mom, Yep.
Then reopen, and then like I think 5 or 6 months later, had to reclose again. That second lockdown was a lot harder on me, on a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
I think the weather wasn't so good. It was, oh my goodness, we had this again. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, mentally really hard too.
Mentally really hard. And I am very lucky that I live where I literally open my front door and I have the countryside there. Yeah. And so I was able to really use that one daily outing for myself sanity.
Yeah.
And I've always meditated since I was a little girl.
Oh, wow.
With my grandmother. I started when I was 6.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I've always had that there, but at that point it turned up into a daily practice. And having it a daily practice, doing it in nature, I suddenly felt very, very centered and very called home. And I thought, well, if this is bringing me that peace that I need through this chaos, surely I can't be the only one. And I was thinking of those lovely mums and women that come to forest school with their little toddler and who I have started to really create lovely relationship. And I was like, well, how about I just open session for women?
Yeah.
So I think I used to call them meditation and mindfulness in nature for women. So I opened them up and they were straight away fully booked. I mean, it was literally wow. And I came out of those sessions with magic running through my veins. It was something was happening that was a lot bigger than I ever thought it was. So I wanted to just hold the space for women to be themselves without any hats, without any roles that they have to play. With just you and your heart, you and your beautiful body, and come and join us, and let's just be in this community together. And it, as I said, it became a lot bigger, and I felt a true calling as that I had a responsibility to really
cultivate this.
Yes, and be able to accompany each of these women the right way.
Right.
So then I took the decision to train as a coach.
Fantastic.
So I did that. And then
a coach, for
well-being.
For well-being, okay.
It's mindfulness, meditation, and well-being coaching.
Okay, lovely.
Exactly. So if people don't know, it's kind of it's a lifestyle coaching, but we're looking at perhaps women are feeling overwhelmed or stuck or stuck is a good word. Like they feel like they've got everything that they would have wanted, but perhaps there's something missing. They don't quite know what, or they feel completely overwhelmed and they just need direction on how to move forward. So that's the kind of coaching that I do. And then that led me to also train as a Reiki practitioner, and I now am a Reiki master as well.
Fantastic.
So it's all about accompanying women and the children of forest school to really reconnect to the beautiful inner light, to the wonderful soul. And I love that I have this full circle of being able to do it in nature with the children, and then again in nature or in a one-to-one with women as well. So it just feels like it's like
full circle. And also the trickle down effect, because if you're helping the women and moms, namely, sort through everything and become more peaceful and navigate in just a gentler way with themselves and with their surroundings, like that trickle down effect is so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to have so many women coming into coaching often going, I feel like this is such a selfish thing to do. And
no, it's really, really not.
Yeah,
it's so
I asked them,
selfless.
Just trust me. And within a few sessions, they can see the impact it has on their family life.
Yeah.
On if they are in work, they can see the impact in their working relationships as well.
Yeah.
Because it radiates.
Yeah.
Because when you heal yourself, you radiate that beautiful energy. And you also set an example for others to give them a permission to do that for themselves as well. So it radiates through your friendships as well.
Yeah.
So it's the least selfish thing you could actually do. It's like imagining it to be like the foundation of everything around you.
Yeah.
If you look after yourself.
Yeah.
Then you're in a better place to help others.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned just through life is like I grew up very much in like a caregiver position and constantly just drawing my energy, just trying to help. And it took so long for me to be like, actually, I'm in such a better position to care for others when I'm all good. And it's much more, I've got so much more potential and so much more energy, all those things that you need. And also to slow down for a second. If everyone does that, hopefully that caregiving is a little bit more spread out.
Yes, and I think balanced.
Yeah.
Balance,
Yeah.
because a lot of us women give, and then reach the point where it's not sustainable anymore. And that is where you then go and you feel completely overwhelmed, or you feel like, I just can't carry on. I just can't carry on.
It's a scary place to be.
Yeah, and you feel like a failure. But the first person you're failing is yourself. Because you can't give if you've not looked after yourself first.
Yeah, you're going to be depleted at some point.
Absolutely.
So when we're getting back to nature, what you said in some of the notes you gave me, so you say we see ourselves separate from nature, but we are nature. So what do you mean by that?
So I wouldn't be able to give you the exact definition, but I know.
Or to you then. Yeah.
So if you look in the dictionary and look at nature, it literally describes it as something that is separate from us.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
Like an entity, if you want,
Right.
and we are
here.
apart from it. Yes.
There's nature.
Yeah.
There's the houses. There's the city. Like that.
Yeah.
So wild, yeah.
And I think that's one of the major mistakes we make. So having that daily contact with nature, I've always had an interest for nature. I've always felt drawn to it, even though I grew up in a capital city. I think I was just always pulled there.
That's really interesting too, actually.
Yeah.
Growing up in a city, but you still feel such a pull to nature.
I think both my grandparents were in the countryside.
So you had access to it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Almost every weekend. And all my school holidays were there. And then my dad was in the Navy, so I had the pull to the ocean.
Okay.
Because my version of him being in the Navy when I was 6 years old is very different to what I understand
You're
what
by
it
the
is
sea.
now. Yeah. You're going in to see the dolphins.
Right. And that's fun for a kid.
Really.
It's not really like that.
Yeah.
Is that where your pull to marine biology came from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think so. I mean, who knows for sure, but I think,
could have been a seed that planted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would be, there's this really famous scientist, French, called Jacques Cousteau. Who's a bit like David Attenborough, but from no longer ago, and maybe not as not presenting so much on TV, etc. Right. And when I was little, I used to watch his program, and that with my dad being in the Navy, and my dad was like this hero, So I think, that call for the ocean was there, but I also had the call for the forest and the mountains, and so for me it fell from when I was a little girl, very much like nature wasn't separate from me, that I was part of that. I felt home there, and I believe that, for example, during that second lockdown, when I went every day outside, I was reminded of that, like, you are an animal, so you're not separate from it. You're part of it. You're a very important part of nature. And I think when we're being reminded of that, we learn to reconnect with it. And when you reconnect with it, therefore you respect it more.
Yeah.
You value it more.
Kidding.
And then that can only lead to then protecting it more and living in harmony with it, which is one of the main reasons for my forest school, is to plant the seed of that connection between the children and nature. Yeah. To create that connection so that whatever path they will go on to, when they grow up and they turn into an adult, this will have been in their formative years. So by the time, let's say they've moved to Dubai, in a super busy city, and they live there, but perhaps they're struggling at the time, there's a challenge in their life, they will always have that connection. They will know deep inside them, I know in nature I feel better. So it's like equipping them with a tool for their well-being. Ideally, they don't part ways. But life is busy and there's no right, no wrong. Everybody's doing their own path. But if they have that connection from very early age, it's part of them. Yeah. They will know that.
Yeah. So, okay, there's so many places we could go from here. So, obviously, in school we learn about, say, something like pollution and that. Yeah. But these real world connections, like if you don't go and see, if that's a picture in a textbook, and of course, it depends on resources and place and the safety measures, the funding, all these things. Like, ideally, we could get the best of all worlds. But, going down to the ocean and actually seeing, what happens when there's pollution and everything, that's just so much more, a better comprehension, isn't it? But just going back to the togetherness and the oneness, when we talk about the well-being that you can cultivate in nature, how can we, if we're not in forest school, how can we have little bits to help us reconnect and help us work on that emotional well-being, that mental well-being, our physical well-being? What are those connections that we can draw from?
I think the connection for me, the starting point is always your breath.
Okay.
Because your breath is part of nature. You invite it in and out, creating the organism that you are alive. Without the breath, you're not alive.
And I talk about to my kids, I'm like, these trees are creating the oxygen that we inhale, we need. And so my kids will sometimes just, we're on walks all the time, and my son the other day looked up at the trees and he goes, Mom, we can live because of these trees, right? And I'm like, they understand it as they go on. If you're laying this foundation now, they're going to be, they got sad that there was a bunch of trees cut down at our local park. They actually looked visibly sad. Why are all those? They felt it, and they said, well, where are the squirrels going to live, and where are the birds going to live, and what happens to the insects, and are we going to breathe less? And I was like, whoa, you just, these little seeds. So sorry, but go back on that. It's
beautiful.
Just,
I think, I believe, we know very little about trees, and we are only starting to realize how they communicate with one another through the roots, through fungi, through chemicals that they release. They protect the young, they protect the weak one. And forest, it's fascinating. It's the most beautiful thing. They have a real sense of community that we could learn from. We've just been so disconnected over the last centuries, 1,000 years, and we are slowly. There is definitely a movement right now of reconnecting with trees and their wisdom. And I think children feel that, and that's probably what your children felt. They felt the loss of those trees, But if you're living in a city, I remember, for example, there are trees in cities. So, and often, I remember for me, I had some favorite trees. I know there were some cherry blossom that I loved to see every year. And it was like a bit of wind, and it was snowing pink, But more regularly, I remember like watching a dandelion growing in between two pavement slabs, and thinking, oh, like, you're such a brave little flower. Like, you found the tiniest little crack to grow and become this most beautiful flower. And so in a way, then you can discuss that with your child if they pick that up, and you can say, you see, you can find any opportunity to grow.
That's a really lovely metaphor.
You see, it's like, what does it teach you? And that is what, mainly that's how I work with nature. I will look at, with women, for example, I work a lot with the roses. For many different reasons, which we should do another podcast.
Yes, I think we're going to have to do a few segments.
But what is this rose telling me right now? Even when it's not flowering, what is it? This time is the time of anchoring your roots, resourcing, nourishing yourself, resting. A flower doesn't bloom 100% of the time. So you shouldn't either.
That's so interesting.
You shouldn't either. You shouldn't
take
put that
time
pressure on yourself
to nourish yourself.
Exactly.
Take time for the rest time. Take time. That's
Use
that
nature
good
as
metaphors.
Teacher. It's using it. It's further than it goes beyond being a metaphor. I genuinely believe
it's an actual thing. Sorry, it is.
Nature is our teacher.
Right.
And when I say we're not separate from nature, I mean that. Learn to live with the rhythm of the nature where you are. Wow. Because if you can remember that you're one with that, you become so much more compassionate with yourself. You hold that space for you. You accept that we're not meant to be 100% of the time going forward, taking action. That's a very patriarchic society, which doesn't work for women and for men, for neither of us. So we need to relearn to find the balance between the taking action and moving forward and the receiving and nurturing ourselves, and not actually judge someone who is taking the time to rest and think that they're not worthy or anything of anything because they do that. How about we create a community that we support each other whenever?
The whole journey, isn't it? Not the bloom isn't this necessarily the success, because all of it has to be successful to get to the bloom.
Yes, you will never have.
Is that an okay way to say it?
Absolutely.
Am I understanding it?
If you're never gonna have a beautiful rose if that bush during the winter hasn't anchored its roots, and if it hasn't rested, your that rose bush every year on year will suddenly get weaker and weaker until it dies. So you have to allow the rest. It's the same for the tree shedding their leaves every autumn. There's no new growth the next spring if you've not rested and you've nurtured yourself during what we call wintering. And the word wintering is becoming very fashionable because people are being called back. So what does wintering looks like for you? Only you can tell. Everyone will have a different definition, but you've got to tune in. You've got to tune in to ask. And this is what I do in meditation with some of my clients is, what is your body asking you to do? What is your heart asking you to do? What is your mind asking you to do? And then you listen to that and then you act upon it.
And that takes time though, doesn't it? That's it's a new practice. Is it like anything, learn, the habits that you create will eventually make that a little bit more easier to tune into yourself, won't it?
Yeah, but I can guarantee to you that if you start this act of self-care and self-love, I take it further, it's self-love every day. Very quickly, I would probably challenge you that within 48 hours you will start feeling benefits.
That's so good. That's so good. Okay, so there's so much to learn. If we go back to education with children then, because I love that we've focused a lot on adults, and I really do believe in that trickle down effect, because of course we're around our kids, caregivers, teachers, anyone around children, they pick up on everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just do. Yeah. And I can sense when I'm not centered, and I really, really don't like that feeling. And I do think I'm fairly balanced and patient and all those things, but I still get hyped up by the busyness, and it's too much. And
we're humans.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do I want to spend all day in nature with my kids? Yeah, I do. I honestly do. The other day we went for a trail walk, and I said, why don't we make this a rainbow scavenger hunt? And so we just went through, everything's in bloom right now, and it's so beautiful, and the insects are out and everything. And it's just our little trail here, but it took us about 2 hours, and we were just noticing every different color we could see, all the flowers, the leaves, the plants, into everything. And so we found everything in every color. And what I thought was interesting is having a purpose. It in one way kept us moving, so that my kids were happy to do a massive walk, which they are, but having a purpose makes it more fun. But it also made us slow down. So that was so interesting to me that I'm like, our purpose is to keep going and keep finding, but we were slowing down so much to really notice, to have perspective, to pick up on the little habitats. My kids love finding bugs, and you have to get down, and you have to be quiet, and you have to be slow, and all these lovely qualities that a lot of our day is not made up of. And it just let us all, we had the best time, honestly. We just loved it. It was so, so, so nice. So I do hope, even though, we live close to a lot of nature, but it's a fairly city-oriented, daily routine. But I do hope that they are growing up slowing down in nature and being so connected, and they are so aware of life and knowing that be careful, because there are tiny organisms everywhere, so be careful, because everything is sacred. Totally.
I think it's important to have those. I mean, that's what I do at Forest School as well, is I try to expose or to inspire the families who come to see me to having a range of activities like that they can do. So it's not that it's specific to Forest School. It's kind of learning a way of being. So often parents will say to me, our walks are completely different now. If we go in the forest, it used to be, let's drag them, and then they'll moan after 5 minutes. Right. Or suddenly they'd start playing, and that's fine, but then the parents get a bit bored, or, and they were saying what you just shared, like having that activity, it goes beyond the activity itself. What it does is it encourages you all to slow down and be mindful, truly mindful of what there is around you in the present moment. And that's a skill that's proven to help your well-being, whether it to be physical or emotional well-being. it is scientifically proven that helps your health.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful skill for the whole family to get involved.
Yeah.
And once you start, as you just said,
so fun.
you start seeing this whole other world, and you go, oh my goodness, look at the colors there, and this pattern, and look at this shell that I've just found.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be in a forest.
Mm-hmm.
That can be in your local park.
That's right.
That can be on the side of the pavement,
Yeah.
and you notice
Can be in a
perhaps
city
a pot
too.
of
Yeah.
flowers that somebody's put in front, or even
A
on
bird's nest in the corner.
Yes, there's so much you can do. Like I've got this park in London in mind where you've got the most beautiful trees with bark that are so different. Great, that you know.
But you're noticing it.
Yeah. Just notice those little details, and when you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, because I think as parents, like, we're so used to maybe like the rush or the focus on how to make it so fun for you.
Yeah, there's a pressure.
Yeah, there's pressure. But if I've worked with kids my whole life, and I still have to remind myself, get in. I'm not going to be in their world, but I can be close, and I can be engaged with them, and I can enjoy this too, because before I had kids, I wasn't always like focusing on the insects and properly playing and everything.
I think there is space for allowing them to do their own thing too.
Totally. Yes,
so
I agree.
I think it's okay to take it back. I think you can model what
Bit of
there is
both.
to happen, and then create the space for them to take it wherever they want to.
Yeah.
Because then there's no framework. So they can just go where their curiosity leads them. And I think for their creative self is really important. And I don't think there is 1 week at Forest School where I have an activity in mind. And because I never make an example, I don't know whether you remember that, but I never make an example because I don't want the children to aim for that. And at first I had a few parents going,
like that.
but
So
I don't
open-ended.
understand. What do you mean you don't do one? But I don't know
They
what
have
to
better
do.
imaginations than we do.
It was incredible. It was more the parents that were worried about it than the kids.
Funny,
And I was like, it's okay,
We've got this.
reassuring them. But the number of times that I have a child or children that bring it to a place that I had not thought of.
Amazing.
And I felt they enrich my life. They're my teachers. The
Totally.
children who are coming in, because I've taken a step back.
Yeah.
Children know how to be. They have a much better instinct than we have. We've learned so many patterns, behavior patterns. We now often act out of fear of judgment. Children don't care.
Yeah.
So they have this beautiful, if you create just a space where they feel safe and they feel valued, they will shine.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
it's just the most fulfilling.
It is, yeah. There's
thing
not much
ever.
better than that.
So you're right, it is a balance between you modeling perhaps, we could do this rainbow hunt and let's go, and maybe you find 1 or 2, and then
But what does it flourish into? Let's
I
let them...
bet suddenly they do like all shades of green or wherever it's going to take them.
Absolutely.
I feel my imagination is limited because
It is now, yeah. Well, we've been conditioned a certain way through our education, haven't we? We're that's what I mean. We're relearning not to be in the world, but when I see the way that they look at the world and the way that they connect with it and respond to it, we're not always the teachers. I think we learn alongside of them. I talked about this in my essay in another episode, that I think it's dangerous that teachers have been labeled as experts. And especially now that we have access to so much information, actually let's just, we have to be an expert in safety and in guiding a safe community. But let's just learn alongside each other.
I see myself as a facilitator.
Yeah.
Just
Like
provide a space where they feel safe.
Yeah, exactly.
And as I said earlier, one of my biggest things is that everyone feels valued for who they are.
Yes. Yes.
But it's beautiful process, really.
It is. When you're in Forest School, what are the things that you try to impart for the
every
kids?
Forest School is different.
Okay.
You get through your qualification, they teach you the essence of Forest School and how to run it in a safe way and how to make sure that you can teach certain, for example, if you're using tools, how to be able to scaffold it so that you've got an activity that is for younger children and they learn to take risks, etc. And you can go to more dangerous activity.
Okay.
But personally, the purpose of mine is is for children, the word is connection. So it's connection with nature. It's connection with themselves. It's connection with each other. Like I've seen some beautiful friendship flourish within the children and within the parents. So although the forest school is for the children, I do often hear the mums, or I have grandparents, I have childminders who are coming too.
Fantastic.
And they say, this is our favorite time of the week. We feel better when we come here. So it's, if you want, on paper, an activity for children, but it's not. It's a time, it's an experience.
Okay.
So it's not even about what they're going to go home with. So perhaps we do some craft, or perhaps we go and do some exploring, or some hunts, or are we going to build something with the tools? But it's not, my purpose is never that. The purpose is, what will they have learned about it?
Yeah.
So they've learned, I'm capable of doing this. They will have learned to take risk in a safe way. So, and as we know, children who are not exposed to any risks often are those that are most likely to get hurt afterwards.
You don't have experience.
So and when you learn to take risk, your confidence, your self-worth goes up. They're both linked together. It's like, I can do this. I know I can do this. Therefore, what else can I do in life? So self-confidence is also, you see the world in your own way, and that way is your magic. Don't ever let anyone else make you feel otherwise. Obviously, at that age, all we do is allowing them to find their magic. But often there's a bit of, not work, that's not going to be the right word, a bit of reassurance to give some of the grown-ups who are coming, who have forgotten perhaps their magic. So maybe a words of encouragement here and there, where they can think, yeah, that's right, actually, I can feel that. And that's just as beautiful.
Okay, I think we need to end on that, because that's such a beautiful, how to find your magic. Just re-find your magic.
Yeah.
And it's
your
just
inner light, I call it.
Yeah.
So if I do that with my own children, when they go through difficult times, because they're a bit older now, and every age has its challenge.
Yeah.
And it's, you can see how when they grow up, they're trying perhaps to conform a bit more.
Right.
They're questioning a little bit, is this okay to be like this? Or because perhaps there's been a reaction of some other people. We all know what it's like. And it's just being there from time to time to just say, just your light is the most beautiful light. And I just need you to believe in it. And I've always said, as a parent or an education, a teacher or a forest school leader or a meditation teacher or a coach, if I can have one message, it's just always trust. Always remember your worth, and always trust your inner light.
I love this. It's just such a, you can conceptualize, what you want this to be, but you're the, like you say, you're the facilitator of having children discover certain, the skill sets, but also just all those intrinsic values that we need to be confident in ourselves.
Yeah.
And to connect, to reconnect with the world and connect with each other and connect to the things that you're passionate about and
realize what you're passionate about. What makes your heart beat faster?
Right.
Because that's where your place in this world is.
Right.
Where is your heart taking you? What, as you grow up, if I were to say that to women, when I ask them what their values are, and they're like, I don't know. So I asked the question in another way, and I said, what triggers you? What makes you mad? And there the answer comes very easily. And that's attached to your value. Yeah. You're mad, you're triggered, you're angry, you're frustrated because something is not right with you. Right. Something's not aligned. So if you can find what that is, there's your passion. Right. That's where your heart beats. This is what your life is about.
And I think having these, this skill set in just cultivated so early, I think you're right that as you get older and you're facing challenges more on your own, when your parents or caregivers aren't so involved, you hope so much that your kids have the tools to step back a second,
do that themselves.
Realign themselves, feel really confident in their morals, their values, hopefully confident communicating with you, but But I think that's like the biggest thing that I want to focus on for my kids is if I'm not here, I hope so much. Are you going to be okay in yourself? Yeah. Can you navigate your way through the world?
I agree.
Yeah.
It's allowing them an independence.
Yeah.
So that process of finding a way back to your heart is something possible for them, because we all lose track. We all do several times in life.
Yeah.
And it's about what can I do? Have I got this? Am I resourceful enough to be able to find that way back?
Yeah.
And I do think that nature is a place where you quieten down, you slow down, like you said earlier. You slow down enough to be able to hear the whispers of your heart again.
Yeah, I love that. I feel before you came, I was thinking, where have my happy places been in my life? And of course, moving across the world, I've had to rediscover a happy place. And I do mean that in not a space in my mind, but a physical place. Yeah. And I used to go to a softball diamond where I did get to play, but it was one of the bigger ones, and they had like World Cup tournaments for female softball teams, and I had such happy memories there. But if I needed a moment for myself, I would go sit on the outside of it. It was right by a forest, and I would sit there, and there'd be nothing going around, but I would sit in the grass. I could feel the grass. I could just
ground yourself.
Totally, literally just ground myself. And then I thought about, well, where is it here? And it's outside. It's when I'm walking the dogs, when you start to think clearly and you're not so jumbled. Yeah. And so
I really in their head
slows down. Yeah. And it takes a little while. You're walking for a while before it's slowing.
Often, what you just said is really important actually. Often if you are having a very noisy mind, movement in nature will be what you need, because through the movement you process and at one point it slows down, and then you go, okay, okay, I've landed, and you will start to recognize that it will require from you less and less time to get there. Yeah. But don't put pressure on that. It doesn't matter. You out. Yeah. It doesn't matter how long it takes you.
Totally. And I also grounding yourself with your senses too. Like I really find when I'm out in the forest, I smell the air. Oh yeah. Clear air. At this time of year, you smell the flowers. Yes. I honestly will sometimes stop and feel like bark.
I do. I have trees all the time. Yeah. You know me.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe I learned it from you.
I put my forehead on a tree and I open my heart to them, and so I mean.
But you're using all your senses, and that's really grounding. Yes. Isn't it?
Yeah, the scents are really important. The textures, definitely. Yeah. It's funny because at the moment it's really cold. Yeah. And somebody said to me this morning or yesterday, it feels like it's end of summer going into autumn. That's true. And I said, yes, the temperature. But I said to her, the scents don't align at all. Right. Because the scents are the scents of summer. Right. So it's very confusing for the brain at the moment.
We're all confused right now. We really need to get grounded. All right. Well, I think I'm going to name this episode Rediscovering Your Magic Through Nature.
That's lovely.
Thank you so much for being here. I've loved this episode, and thank you so much for sharing everything.
Thank you.
We'll have to have you back because I know there's more.
Can't make me stop talking. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you have any questions about any of the topics we covered, or maybe you have a story of your own you'd like to share, I'd love to hear from you. Just email me at calmandchaospodcast@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at calmandchaospodcast. That's all for now. See you next time.